to the Gauntlet of Gaming. My name is Malik Williams. I'm going to be your main host for today. And as well as myself, I'm joined by my three friends. Let's go around and just introduce your names real quick.
Hi, I'm Francis. I play mostly. I play mostly on PlayStation. Favorite genre of games? I'm mostly into like story-based games, and yeah, that's pretty much what I like.
Nice. My name is Jonathan. I mostly play on PC. I'm the unique one out of this group, and I'm mostly focused. My game genre is mostly focused around RPGs or MMOs.
My name's Santiago. I play on PS4, Xbox, and I would be a PC gamer, but I'm too poor to be one. You're not special, John.
I'm pretty special.
RPGs are my bread and butter, but I do dabble in fighting games and the occasional shooter.
I appreciate that we have a Master Race gamer in here.
He's also white.
Takes a bow.
That means nothing here. That means nothing here.
I also have the full beard in our group.
He does,
here,
yeah.
So.
He's the only person in our group that has a full beard. So he's Master Race and he has a full beard. You are the god of gaming today.
He's very pretty.
He's very handsome.
He's going ginger.
It's just the beard. It's just the red beard.
But it's good because that means that we have a lot of representation that happens in here. I already introduced who I am, what platforms I play on. I pretty much play on everything: PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, PC. If it's got games, I play it. I even play some mobile here and there, not as much as I would like to, but we have a saying where I'm from, it be like that sometimes.
It'd be like that all the time.
It do be like that all
the
the time. And you know what? I realized I made a mistake because I introduced us, we are the Gauntlet of Gaming, but I didn't tell them what our catchphrase is.
These hands are rated E for everyone!
So yes, we are the
Careful
Gauntlet.
what you say.
So we are the Gauntlet of Gaming. These hands are indeed rated E for everyone. And I forgot to talk about my favorite genre of gaming. So for me, if you don't know who I am, my favorite genre of gaming is fighting. I love a good fighting game, especially a good fighting game with some character customization. And we might even get to talk about some fighting games a little bit later into this podcast, but we'll talk about that later. Speaking of podcasts and talking about how you can listen to us, where you can listen to us. As far as how you can listen to us, if you're listening right now, you already found us. We're not on a lot of platforms yet because we're just starting out, but give us some time and we'll get back to you on that. As far as when you can hear us, we would like to be scheduled to give you some podcasts every other Sunday. So this Sunday will be the first one that will be up, that being Sunday the 10th of November. And then the next time you'll see us will be, I want to say that is the 24th, correct? Yeah, 2 weeks is 14 days?
Yes.
Yeah, so it'll be the 24th of November.
Fortnite, if you will.
Can I beat him up now?
I don't play Fortnite.
The Gauntlet of Gaming might be hiring a new host.
We need a new number 4, everybody.
How many gold?
We need a new number 4. Oh my gosh. So speaking of numbers, the thing about numbers is that we often associate them with resolution, pixels, things like that. And speaking of pixels, I wanted to go retro and bring it back, way back in the time. Let's talk about some nostalgia gaming.
Back for us, I would say. I don't...
Okay, yeah, we're not
old.
We're not
people.
the oldest of gamers, but we lived long enough to talk about some of that. I mean, technology evolves very quickly.
Agreed.
And if you don't believe me, look at cell phones.
Like, we weren't alive when Pong was released, but like...
I remember Blockbuster.
But I still rented from Blockbuster.
I rented.
I played Pong actually when I was growing
I have
up.
Pong on my watch now.
Yeah.
Imagine
Anybody
that, guys.
remember the Game Boy before it was the Game Boy Color?
Yeah, I still
Yeah.
have it. I own
Yeah,
that.
I
That's
played
all
the
my
Game Boy
dad's.
before it was the Game Boy Color.
And
So
you had to light up with the flashlight.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
Oh,
or you had
man.
that attachment that went on the top. That
Yeah.
had the
Yeah, that
little
was the
visor.
worst.
Oh, that was
Backlights
the
and
worst.
everything.
Or when you were a kid and you were driving and they were going down the street with
Oh,
your parents and you had to wait for every street light
to make a move.
And so you wouldn't press a button until you went under street light, and sometimes you would yell, it's like, slow down. And your parents would look at you like, you're a child telling me to slow down in my car. Boy, I will break your game system. And I'm just like, yes, ma'am. But yeah, so nostalgia gaming. We wanted to talk about games from our childhood. Not a big discussion, but pretty much just, hey, I will separate you
He's
two.
snapping.
I will snap on
If
both
there
of
was
you.
a camera, I'd be like that.
Oh
my god. Go in timeout.
Yes, there's a door everywhere.
You're our new number 4, and you're doing terrible.
But yeah, so we wanted to talk about favorite games from our childhood that had the greatest impact in your life. And I guess I wanted to start with mine. And it's two games, to be 100% honest. The first being Final Fantasy VII, and the second being Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Now, Final Fantasy VII, if you're watching this and you're a Final Fantasy fan, you probably already know why Final Fantasy VII had the greatest impact for me when I was growing up, because it probably had the same impact on you when you were growing up. Final Fantasy VII for me was the game that, and I played previous Final Fantasies before playing Final Fantasy VII, but 7 was interesting just because of the music. It was interesting because of the characters, the story was cool, and overall it just felt like a universe and an atmosphere that I wanted to soak myself into. And when I walked away, and of course growing up as an artist, like you draw a lot of stuff, especially like anime when I was growing up, and there was nothing more anime to me than a scrawny, pale-skinned blonde kid holding a giant sword twice his size, cutting down monsters that if I was to do the same thing would probably eat me in a split second.
Most unreal sentence in the world right there.
Right.
Spiky
So-
blonde kid with a big sword.
Imagine John with a Buster Sword.
I don't have blonde hair.
No, but we can give you blonde
I don't
hair.
want blonde
The
hair.
power of Photoshop.
Oh,
But yeah, no,
boy.
Final
I
Fantasy
thought you were
VII.
going to say the power of bleach, but whatever.
That's a thing. Too.
That's a thing too, yeah. But no, Final Fantasy VII for me, like that, it was a very impactful game. And also the fact that when I was growing up, and what really got me into gaming was the interaction I had with my uncle when I was growing up in gaming. The game was played by him, as well as God of War and Devil May Cry. And I find that to be kind of interesting, how the games that had the biggest impact on my life were the games that I watched him play. Like, I didn't even get to play these games. I got to play Final Fantasy VII because he was nice and he was like, yeah, sure, you could play. But Devil May Cry and God of War, oh no. I was too young for that, he said. Because my great-grandmother was watching.
He was also very right.
Yeah. I saw some things with God of War I probably shouldn't have
There's
seen.
a reason the M came for the video game.
This is- yeah,
and
this
God
is-
of War was it.
this is very
Next
true.
to Duke Nukem and Doom.
Yeah, pretty much. But Final Fantasy VII luckily wasn't that. You know, you didn't have to worry about an R rating for that game. So it was a little... It had some interesting things. Especially since I'm playing it again on the Nintendo Switch now. I go back and I'm just like, wow, this is definitely a 90s game.
I mean, they did put cross-dressing in there.
Yeah, and that's not the worst of it. So, yeah. But it's still
If
a
you
great
played the
game.
game, you'd know.
Yeah, if you,
If you know, you know.
Yeah,
If you know, you
know. But Marvel vs. Capcom 2, I mean, man, I'm into fighting games. You want to talk about the fighting game?
Oh,
a
man.
mother-freaking fighting
What a
game that
great
got me into
fighting
fighting game?
game.
It was MVC2. To this day, I still talk about how much I wish I could keep playing MVC2. But, you know, we don't have it with us right now because I was young. I didn't know the weight that game carried. But it was just impactful because growing up with like a love for Marvel characters beating up Capcom characters who were also characters I grew up with, I was like, wow, it's like playing with a toy box, but it actually happening. So I was like, this is great. And a lot of people would say, well, that's what Smash Bros. Was. You know, it was literally characters from a toy box being fought against each other. But Smash Bros. Did not have the roster that Marvel vs. Capcom 2 had. Oh, boy. And it also pretty much taught me what I liked about fighting games. And it wasn't so much the mechanics as a lot of professionals probably would really like. But for me, it was the characters, the music, the scenery. The same reason why I like Final Fantasy VII. And it's just like, having those characters there, I was like, this is heaven. And then you find out that there was a sequel coming, and I was like, this is heaven, the sequel. And so, those are my two games, and I mean, I can go on and on. That's why they're games that have the greatest impact on my life, but I wanted to pass it on. So Francis, let's ask about yours. What was the game or games that had the greatest impact on your life when you were growing up?
So I'm actually quite the opposite from you, seeing that you were restricted from like God of War. But for me, the God of War trilogy was it.
Really?
Yeah. I know it sounds weird because I was young back then, but during that time I didn't care because I enjoyed beating up gods and stuff. And I
An
like the
educational base to it. Beating up
Yeah,
gods.
beating up gods. Yeah.
And I also was interested in like Greek mythology, so it played well together. And I liked the simplicity of it. I mean, basically, a guy was just going for revenge, and he was too angry to die.
So dark. And
I definitely enjoy this.
But I will say it didn't have my favorite soundtrack, My favorite soundtrack, to be specific, was Metal Gear Solid 3.
Oh yeah.
Like every time, whenever we play Super Smash Bros. On Nintendo Switch, and then I hear that song, I go.
The Snake Eater thing.
Yeah.
Oh
exactly.
man.
Such a good theme.
I always love. I put that as the default. I've never
Oh,
changed it
smart.
on my Switch.
Smart. That's smart.
And
Oh
then,
man.
however, in terms of being remastered or remade, actually no, Metal Gear Solid 3 could be a good remaster too.
Yeah.
That
I mean,
would
if
be a
they
good
just bumped up the quality of a little. You're right, because with the quality of the music,
one.
they could
It
honestly
could
bring it back. Bring it to the
seriously.
Switch.
We won a lot of games for the Switch. We're putting so much into that game. So many ideas. It's not even, go ahead.
Honestly, okay. So actually, God of War 3 was remastered, but I would like the whole trilogy remastered. I mean,
I have all 3 of them remastered.
why not?
Yeah, I think they were remastered, all 3 of them.
They released it as a collection.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got all.
But guess
They
what? It's
weren't
not
all
a collection on the Switch.
Oh boy. I could see it more on the Switch,
I could
only
too.
because
I
of
would
the
play
way
that.
the camera work and everything
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
So I could see it more on the
Yeah.
Switch now than previous games.
Awesome.
Nice.
All right, John.
Childhood, I got 2 that impacted my life. One was Croc on the PlayStation 1.
Wow, you're old.
I am old. Croc was the Spyro before Spyro,
That's
for
true,
everybody's
yeah.
knowledge. And if I hear just a certain like attack noises that the little Croc guy made or anything like that, or maybe the little squeaky fuzzy balls that I never figured out what were throughout the game. I never beat that game as a kid. I played the first level over and over again because I always restarted something new.
He'd be like that sometimes.
Exactly. But if I hear that tail whip in the game, it just brings me back to that. But also, the one that greatly impacted my life was Diablo 2.
Mm.
My older brother and I loved that game so much. Just playing as the many different classes and abilities that you could do, and then later finding out that it was online. We both got a computer right away, and we both started playing Diablo 2, which was great, and it also has one of my favorite soundtracks ever. Just if you just sit in one town, the ambient noise is just great. You hear the rustling of the leaves and stuff like that in the game. It's amazing. The monsters in there are always more challenging than the last, and it made me want to continue to be a PC gamer.
Yeah.
And then MMOs started kicking in when I was a middle schooler, and then that was Lego Universe. Lego Universe was my first MMO as a kid, and boy, let me tell you, it wasn't the best. And I gave it so much praise back then, and I look back on it now, and I'm like, I wasted so much time. I didn't do any homework.
John, Toontown.
Toontown!
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I played Toontown. That
Toontown.
was before Lego Universe.
Wow.
Oh, that's right.
Man, there's probably going to be people who are listening to this, and
Just
they're going to be
gonna
like,
hate
what the heck is Toontown? I'm like,
Oh,
you don't
man.
know.
When you played as a dog or a cat or
See,
a
this
bunny.
was back when you could, because everyone's so used to their version
Was
of
my-
playing games online is
Yeah.
cool math games, and it's like, no, you don't understand.
cool math games.
playing games through a web browser was a completely different experience growing up.
After Toontown, it had to been Fusion Fall
Fusion
for
Fall.
Cartoon Network.
Cartoon Network.
And then Lego Universe was busted out after Ninjago was a thing.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
No. But if I were to see a remastered game, I'd love to see a remastered Diablo 2. Just fix up the pixels, put it on newer browsers and stuff like that. That way I can play it again.
Yeah.
And just relive all those glory days of playing each class differently. And now with my knowledge of continuing to be a PC gamer, I can see what I can do with those things and stuff like that. So that was always my childhood.
Nice.
What about you, Santi?
I've got a couple games. The first game that's really important to me on a personal level is a JRPG by the name of Blue Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody in this here knows about Dragon Ball.
Of course.
And Blue Dragon, the character design and the story are both done by Akira Toriyama.
Oh, yes.
And so when I first got my hands on this game, at first I just played the demo, and when I first played this game, it was a very vulnerable time in my life, as I was just recovering from an accident I was in when I was little. And for me, not being able to really watch TV or cartoons, but getting my hands on something that still reminded me of Dragon Ball and gave me that same experience, but something that I was able to be more interactive with, left a really big impact on me, especially the soundtrack from that game. Holy crap.
Yeah.
To this day, I have not found a game that has better boss music than that game.
Ooh, you're challenging me, and I don't like that.
I don't think you understand how much I love Eternity. That is the name of the song, Eternity. It is so good. I can still hear it in my head right now.
You just gave me something to look up later.
Sephiroth.
But Eternity. It's so good. It's so good. I love Blue Dragon. I so desperately want it to be remastered on like the PS4, Xbox One, because it's on the 360. It's a 3-disc game. Back when people still did that.
Did multiple discs.
Oh yeah! Oh, Diablo 2 is a 2-disc game.
Oh man, a lot of people still don't know that games used to be like that.
Oh,
just like Final Fantasy 13 was a 3-disc game.
Yeah,
we didn't
Lost Odyssey.
Yeah, Lost Odyssey. Final Fantasy 7 was a 3-disc game.
We didn't have flash drives back then.
No,
kids.
we did not. Yeah.
So I would love to see that remastered. I love Blue Dragon. I have like over 400 hours in it. It's very near and dear to my heart. Another game that I love that helped really build the relationship between me and my father is Gears of War.
Ooh, yeah.
I love that series. I love that franchise. To this day,
It just got hot in this room.
I still play Gears of War with my
Train.
dad. Like right now, we're in the middle of going through and playing the story together for Gears 5.
Oh, it's
And
so
we've
good.
played every single game together, and I love it.
Man, that's great. I love hearing about familial relationships when it comes to gaming.
Oh yeah.
Because a lot of times people who grow up and they're like, yeah, I was never into video games. And I was like, well, what about your parents? And they're like, no, my parents weren't either. And I was like, well, that's probably why. I was like, what about your siblings? And they're like, no, my siblings weren't either. And I was like, I think that's why. I think for a lot of us, we got into gaming either because of family, as far as like parents, siblings. Maybe it was some friends who we treated like family who got us into specific games. Like John, for instance, like you got me into Diablo 3. And I was like, I'm never going to touch.
You went through it and then stopped playing it.
Yeah, I went ham because I was just like, all right, John introduced me to this game, but John's not sitting next to me right now. I'm going to research everything I can. Oh, there's a necromancer? Oh, it's over. And from there it was done. But that's the thing.
Malik over here.
Oh, yeah. I'd like to consider myself an edge deity.
Oh, I mean, at this point in life.
Might as well be.
But, you know, it's nice seeing that. It's nice seeing how, you know, that tie to nostalgia in gaming can have a lot of that familial aspect of it. And by family, I don't mean just relatives. One thing that a lot of people will learn about me is that I think family goes beyond just the blood. So people who are really close to you, who have that impact with a specific game, and how it carries over to who you are as a person, and how it carries into the games you play now, I think is very interesting. And I think it's very important to look into that, because a lot of times people, they get confused. They're like, I don't know how to react to this person. You know, I don't know how to talk to this person.
Yeah.
And the thing for me is, it's like,
commonalities.
Yeah. And it's like, is this person a gamer? And it's like, well, yeah, but I don't play games. I'm like, that's not the point. One of the funniest things ever is you could tell a lot about a person based off of what games they play and how they play them. And no better example of that than is my own brother. And I'm not going to go into the details of it for the sake of his privacy, but for my family, like I tell them, I'm like, look how he plays games, and you'll see how it reflects in his life. And some of them start to realize, they're like, no, you're right. And I was like, well, look at me, look how I play games. And they're like, you know, you're right. And these are family members who don't play video games. So what games you played when you were growing up, and the people who got you to that point can have a really huge impact. And that's why I wanted to start our first stream talking about nostalgia gaming, because it's very important for our origin as the Gauntlet of Gaming to talk about where we started. You know, what was the thing that gave us the greatest impact. And I noticed that you all were talking about what games you wanted to see perfectly remastered and remade. And I appreciate you all saying that, because my hope is that we can get our voices out there, and maybe other people feel the same way. They just electrocute that voice and opinion and just make it amplified.
If Nintendo ever listens to this podcast, just know that every game we were saying we want on the Switch.
Pretty much, yeah.
I would love Blue Dragon on the Switch.
Yeah.
Oh my
Thank
gosh.
you. It's just I want to be able to play mobile
And
games.
you know, here's my thing, and I'll talk about what game I wanted to see remastered / remade. But talking about like games coming to the Switch, we have Final Fantasy 7, 8, I want to say 9,
They're
10,
busting all of them out.
and 12 are on the Switch right now.
Wait, they added Zodiac Age to the
Zodiac
Switch?
Age is on the Switch. Yeah, so 7 to
And
12 is on the Switch, minus 11 because it was an MMO. But here's my thing.
Advanced Tactics would be great.
Well, it's not even just advanced tactics, but I'm looking back to the PS Vita, right? Because we're talking about nostalgia, and the PS Vita is a very nostalgic thing. PSP in general is a very nostalgic thing to talk about.
People are probably listening to this going, "What's a PSP?
What's a Vita?
What's a
What are these?
I know
Sony
Nintendo.
handhelds?
Sony handhelds?
Lies.
Unimaginable."
But for me, it's like on the Switch, why don't we have Final Fantasy 1 through 6 yet? Like, that's criminal to me. You want to talk about nostalgia? The thing about the Switch is it's already showing how nostalgic it is with all these retro games that they're bringing, and that's what I appreciate about the Switch. The Switch feels like not so much a relic, but a revolution of what it means to be a gamer and what it means to have those memories of nostalgia of gaming, because they're bringing a lot of our classics back.
Yeah.
I mean, people looked at the new SNES stuff and they were like, "What's Kid Dracula?" It's like, "What's Kid Dracula?"
Oh my god. Really? What is it?
Let me tell you, young man. So, it's important that we not just look to the future of gaming, but we sometimes look to the past. And I know a lot of people do the "okay boomer" meme where we talk about our past. But at the same time, it's like, gaming is one of those things that it's like anything when it comes to history. If you don't look back at what happened, you're going to make mistakes in the future. And that's why we just got to look back at the good of our history.
I think that brings up another interesting point in terms of not only remembering gaming past and history, but preservation.
Exactly.
Because the gaming industry
I
lacks...
got something to talk to you about.
The gaming industry really lacks any kind of preservation for old games.
Yeah.
Like, you could go and like, why haven't they released these old games on new consoles? And it's honestly because they lost the source code. They don't have the files anymore.
Or
looking at you here, Konami.
Or people own them and they don't want to give them up.
Exactly.
Yeah, and because publishing is a huge thing now.
Yeah, or they don't see monetary value.
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh, we're not going to get enough money. Not enough people are going to buy it."
Put GoldenEye onto the Switch, I
Everyone
guarantee...
Racing.
Diddy Kong Racing!
Okay, alright, let's calm down.
Guarantee
Let's calm down.
millions right there.
Let's calm down. So, we may have to talk about that another time. It's just like, like Nintendo
Let's
Switch
just have
in
a
general.
nostalgic topic.
Yeah, just a nostalgia stream of like, what do we not have yet that we need to have? But speaking of nostalgia, because you guys brought up your remasters and your remakes, and mine wouldn't necessarily be remade, and I don't want to really say it'd be remastered as it is more updated, and it's got to be MVC2. It's got to be MVC2. Because the thing about it is...
I still played that on the arcade game at the bar.
Yeah.
I still have it on my old Xbox. I just gotta find it.
Man, I see people...
So good.
I was in San Jose the other day, and we went to a bar called Mini Boss. And at Mini Boss, they had I believe it was X-Men vs. Street Fighter cabinet. So it wasn't in VC2, but it was X-Men vs. Street Fighter.
Yeah.
So it's even older than in
older.
VC2. And I remember I saw a guy on this cabinet, and he went ham on Apocalypse not once, not twice, 3 times. This man made it to Apocalypse 3 times and destroyed him.
It was like 4 vodka shots in.
Into oblivion.
Yeah, and he was drinking too. Yes, he was inebriated, and he was knocking out Apocalypse. And there were people who were staring and watching. They're like, wow. This is fascinating. And I was like, you know what? That was fascinating. How much more fascinating would it be if you could have done that at your home with your friends? Instead of having to pay out. Yeah.
I'd lose.
Because, here's the problem. The cabinets still exist. And these bars that have arcade cabinets are getting money from us. And the people who have the cabinets rented out are getting money from us. But what about Nintendo? What about Sony? What about Xbox? You want our money? That's how you get our money.
The Holy Trinity.
Yeah. Bring back the games we want. Now, speaking about MVC2...
compatibility.
Oh, gosh.
That's been that's another
That's
topic.
another topic.
Another topic.
Yeah,
Francis,
Go
go sit back in the corner,
I'm
Francis.
just bringing it up.
That's a whole nother stream. But yeah, speaking about
No,
fighting...
we're not gonna talk about
Hey,
it.
I don't want this to get any longer than it needs to. Because we're, talking about the fighting games and bringing back fighting games and talking about nostalgia and the past. Recently, we got a blast from the past in the modern day with Terry Bogard and Smash Bros. Ultimate.
It's so good to see that they're going that far back
to
fighting games
to
throw him in.
And not even just that. Masahiro Sakurai did a live stream breakdown of Terry Bogard and his abilities and all that. He didn't just do a breakdown. He did a history lesson.
That's awesome.
He said, kids, sit down. We're going to class. He gave you history of the Neo Geo. He gave you history of Fatal Fury and King of Fighters. And I sat there and I'll probably talk about this streamer a lot because he's a very influential streamer to me personally. but I remember watching Maximilian Dude's reaction to Masahiro Sakurai taking us to class, and Max was just like, man, this is what I love. He's like, I wish more developers were like this. Because you see the love. Yeah. You see the love for the classics. And it goes back to what we were saying. Preservation.
Passion of preservation.
We're preservation. And so talking about Smash and talking about fighting games and talking about Terry being in Smash, I think... No, he's not. I don't think he's the oldest character in there. But he's the most obscure, I would say.
He is out of place.
I think he's very out of place for... Like, I remember seeing a lot of social media backlash from people because they didn't know who he was. Like, more people were grateful to have Piranha Plant than Terry Bogard. And I'm like, you're insane.
Terry Bogard.
You're insane. I would love to boot up Smash right now instead of doing a podcast and just listen to him say Burn Knuckle the entire time. Just the entire time. I will side B this entire stream.
How'd it go again?
Burn Knuckle. Because for me, when I was growing up, because I don't think any of us really played Fatal Fury or King of Fighters growing up, but I still remember that being around fighting games as a kid growing up, I didn't know what Fatal Fury and all that was, but I recognized a Burn Knuckle when I heard a Burn Knuckle.
I didn't play them, but I knew what it sounded like.
Exactly, yeah. And then, and that's just as impactful because you see someone dressed as the character for cosplay, and they do, cosplayers can be weird sometimes. Shut up. Because Santi over here is like, if you squint your eyes hard enough, Terry Bogard in Smash looks like if Red was on steroids. It's like, you're not wrong, but also, let's not think about
just
that.
Red and Fist of the North Star.
Oh, gosh. But, talking about guest characters, I kind of want to just spitfire and not take too much time on this one, but, who's your favorite guest character in any fighting game? And I know for John and for Francis, you guys may not have been so attuned to fighting games like me and Santi may have been, but I'm sure you've played a fighting game where you were just like, wow, this character's in here, and they're not from this genre or from the series. I like it. So, who's your favorite guest fighter?
I'm going to surprise everybody in the circle right now.
Yeah, you're definitely going to surprise me. Who's your least favorite? If you have one. If you don't have one, that's okay, because, again, we may not have a full library knowledge of all guest fighters, but if you had a least favorite, who would it be? And who would you like to see in Smash? Smash is breaking the barrier of what we can see as guests in other games. Who would you like to see? And I actually won't start off with this one. I want to go to Santi.
Who's already got his hand up.
Yeah, who already
He's ready
to just praise this. Who's your favorite? Who's your least favorite? Who would you like to see in Smash?
Okay, my favorite, Arbiter and Killer Instinct. Killer Instinct, KI, love it to death.
That's
so
a fighting game.
Me and Malik can talk about KI really all day. We played it all night while getting drunk, and it was amazing. It's a great fighting game. But when I found out that they had Arbiter in there from Halo, another franchise I grew up playing with my dad.
Same.
Oh my gosh.
I think I saw you shed a tear.
Actually. I was like, my favorite character.
And he
one of my favorite fighting games.
Yeah, he looks so good.
We can all do a good Santi impression.
He looks so good. His character design is on point. His customization stuff it has all the different sets of the elite armor from the Halo series. So good.
He's sweating right now.
Who is my least favorite? Negan and Tekken.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Really?
First of all, it doesn't make sense that they put who was essentially a sword character in Tekken.
I mean, Yoshimitsu.
But still. of all, really, Negan and Tekken.
Yeah. I mean, we also have Arnold Schwarzenegger T-800 in Mortal Kombat 11.
Yeah, but
okay.
I mean, at least it fits the vibe
but,
of the game.
Yeah, you're okay. You got me there. Yeah.
MK11 has weapons.
Yeah,
he's talking
having
Tekken
Terminator
strictly.
and MK, it fits the atmosphere of the game.
Yeah.
Negan and Tekken.
Yeah.
Compared to every single other character in that game.
True. A guy who's actually part demon. So yeah. I get it. All right, I got you. All right.
He's trying to make his point with hand
gestures.
You can't see my hands, but I'm shaking them vigorously.
Yeah. When Santi says these hands are ready to eat for everyone includes me. He's ready to just pop off on me. I'm not ready for this. All right. So yeah, I feel your passion.
Who would I like to see in Smash?
Yeah, who would you like to see in Smash?
Okay, I got two options here. Either Skull Kid from Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask.
But he's a costume.
His costume's in it.
All right, don't kill me. Don't kill me.
Murder him later. Murder him later.
Or Geno
We don't have the time.
Yeah.
from Super Mario RPG.
Yeah.
Legend of the Seven Stars.
Yeah, everyone's been praising Geno. Everyone.
I'm
So,
sad. I love Terry Bogard, but I wish they'd put Geno in there.
Hey, maybe next season.
That would be nice.
All right, John.
I don't remember which Mortal Kombat game it was, but Michael Myers is my favorite.
Oh, you're talking about from X.
X.
Yeah,
Okay. Oh, it
you're
was
talking
X.
from
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Seeing Michael Myers in a game is just fantastic. He was stabby stab.
Michael Myers, Alien.
Alien was great.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
My least is probably gonna be one of the common ones in this group here, which is Yoda, Soul Calibur, just because he was broken.
Yeah.
And I loved it, but also hated it at the same
Yeah.
time because you wouldn't play a good Soul Calibur fight and stuff like that.
I feel that.
Who would I like to see in Smash? Are we talking video game characters? Or are we talking like anybody?
It can be anyone.
I want to see Malik X Williams inside.
for anyone who has played in Smash, they know I already am. I am the ultimate sword me fighter.
I knew it.
Okay, you got nothing on the power. Propane.
Oh,
propane
Hank Hill! I
accessories.
want Hank Hill in
Hank Hill in
Smash.
Smash, like
Can
an
I?
official
I want.
Hank Hill
I
character.
want a Bobby like Smash,
Yeah.
like Butterfree.
Now-
I want
Whoa.
Butterfree.
Now the question is though, would you want like regular Hank Hill or would you like super beefy Hank Hill from
I
that
want-
Grand Theft Auto ripoff they did?
I want regular Hank Hill.
Yeah.
Just so he looks plain and stupid, so we can throw him at
So
people. And I mean, you
can-
threw
you
a
can just
piranha plant in the game.
throw Hank Hill.
Throw my propane man
Yeah.
out there,
He
please.
just lights the propane tank and tosses it at someone and it just explodes.
Piggy, get it off the lawn.
he throws medium rare steaks at people.
That's funny.
No, he throws freaking propane. Why would he?
Propane.
He's not a burger guy. He's a
What do we do if we
propane
ask for
guy.
a steak well done? We ask
No,
him
that's Bob.
politely,
That's Bob from Bob's
yet
Burgers.
firmly
That's Bob
to leave.
leave. All right, Francis.
Favorite guest fighter? I'm gonna go with 2B and Soul Calibur 6.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Tubey.
It's not what you think, okay?
No,
It's
I'm not
definitely
making
what I
assumptions.
think.
She's a good character to fight.
She
with.
is. Yeah.
Maybe a little OP. That's a yes.
That is a total yes.
At least
laid
favorite,
in.
I can't really say. I don't. Like Malik said, I don't really play fighting games that much. Who would I like to see in Smash?
2B.
No.
Oh, I remember. Go ahead.
No, you say first.
No. It's your go.
Anime waifus.
Anime. Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
just the
Zero
whole,
two?
Just make-
the whole
just make
Skull
all- the
Girls
whole- no.
lineup.
Well, maybe.
I was joking.
Wow.
I mean, like every possible waifu. Make a fighting game out of that.
Wait, but that could be endless.
A separate.
Well,
game.
I mean, okay, so
But that's Skullgirls.
well, in Soul Calibur, they usually have master characters, and it used to be that it was I'm gonna remember his name. Hopefully, what was his name?
It's on the tip of your tongue.
That one guy.
It was that one guy.
Oh, I remember that guy. He had a weird beard.
I can't remember his name, and I'll have to look it up later. But he basically was the character. He was like a universal character where he could play anyone's like weapon style. And then we also had Edge Master, who was like, I can use all the male abilities. So it's like, what if we had like this blob, right? Kind of like a Ditto, and it was just like a Guiji, but it was like of an anime character, and that was their thing. Is they transformed to different anime waifus to
The
attack.
Guiji turns into different Sony characters.
Oh
I would
man.
play it.
I thought you were gonna say from Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh, Aloy.
Aloy. I thought you were gonna say Aloy in Smash.
Does she fit in that?
No,
Does it?
none of the characters was.
Doesn't matter.
Hank Hill doesn't fit in
Yeah.
Smash.
People want to see Goku in Smash.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Aloy's a good one too then.
Yeah. I mean,
I
hey.
mean, she's not much of a melee fighter. Unless they adjust some stuff in the second game.
They have a piranha plant in the game. That can make.
They put
any
Banjo-Kazooie in
They
there.
put Banjo-Kazooie in there.
And that's
They'll
a
make it
platformer.
Yeah. I mean, honestly though, with Aloy, I feel like that leads to a discussion of like potential PlayStation All Stars future, but that's a discussion
Yeah,
for
it's-
another day. But yeah, no, I mean, 2B and Soul Calibur, yeah, when she came to the game, at first I was just like, I've never played this game. I don't want to play this character. You look cool, but I don't really care. Nice sword, by the way. And then I played her, and I didn't, because the thing with Soul Calibur is you can customize characters, like you can make your own character with the fight style of another character. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to take 2B style and I'm going to change it so that my character has a different sword. And I realized they had the Buster Sword as an option for 2B. And I was like, Cloud Strife.
If anybody's listening to this podcast, they know that Malik has Final Fantasy.
I have a crush on Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
So I made Cloud Strife with 2B's fighting style. And even though it wasn't 2B necessarily, it was still her fighting style. And oh man, I enjoyed it.
It's really funny because even though her fighting style, she has a very feminine walk.
Oh yeah, when
she
you
does-
customize it, it
yeah.
still has the same.
It still has the
Gestures and
same
everything.
gestures as the person in the same stance and idle. So you just see Cloud Strife walking in a very feminine like, and he just bends over and he's
our
like, "Good
favorite.
boy."
He's our favorite.
It's like
feminine.
that cross-stitching scene awakens something in Cloud.
Yeah, Cloud found his inner femininity. For me,
Only in Soul
speaking of Cloud, my favorite guest fighter in a fighting game, hands down, has to be Cloud Strife in Super Smash Brothers. When I found this out, I was screaming, I was crying, I was like, oh my gosh, I get to finally play as Cloud in a fighting game that isn't the city of Final Fantasy. And it was great. And then I started getting more excited when I found out that he had the Cloudy Wolf costume from Advent Children. I was like, oh
the
yes,
trench coat one.
yes.
Yeah.
I was like, this is a dream come true. So definitely my favorite. My least favorite, John, you hit the nail on the head.
Oh
Yoda.
yeah. I
Yoda
knew
from
it was
Soul
a hard
Calibur.
one.
I love Star Wars. So
Everybody
much.
does. I love.
And playing as Starkiller in Soul Calibur 4 was cool. But then I found out there was Yoda, and I was like, this could be fun. But then I also remembered playing Yoda in Battlefront 2, the original Battlefront 2.
OP too.
And how he was OP in that. Yeah. So I was like, oh, so they just looked at
But you
Battlefront.
could still kill him in Battlefront 2.
You can still kill him in Soul Calibur.
Well, difficultly, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, it's possible.
Still broke.
Yeah. So, yeah. And as far as what I would like to see, and you guys probably, I like Final Fantasy a lot.
It's Sephiroth.
It's
It's
Sephiroth. Yeah,
Sephiroth.
it's Sephiroth. I would love to see Sephiroth in Smash. And here's the thing, though.
Big old
It's
blade.
not that I would like to see Sephiroth in Smash because it's Sephiroth.
No.
It's I would like to see Sephiroth in Smash because he can bring in a new stage. So he can bring in the Planet Core stage from the City of Final Fantasy and alter it to fit in Smash a lot better.
It would be cool.
It would be really cool. Also,
More
having
Final
a,
Fantasy music.
that's
Yeah,
my thing.
that's
Yeah,
what I was
that's
gonna
what I was
say
gonna
next.
say. Is Final Fantasy has the same number of songs in Smash as Tetris.
Final Fantasy
Tetris.
has so many great songs.
Yeah.
And there's only 2 songs in there.
Exactly.
That is highway robbery.
That's a crime. And the thing about it, and this is what makes me even more upset, I love that Terry's in Smash. But Terry Bogard in Smash,
He brought
He
50
brought
songs!
50 freaking tracks from not just Fatal Fury, sorry, not just from Fatal Fury and King of Fighters,
Fatal
but
Fury.
from Metal Slug. No, I think you understand.
Metal Slug,
Don't
Samurai Showdown.
He
Samurai
brought Metal
Showdown,
Slug?
All
Metal
those
Slug
Neo
music,
Geo
yes.
games.
What?
Neo Geo game music came with Terry
I was
Bogard.
just thinking about Metal Slug.
50 tracks. And I'm not talking 50 tracks like when Ken and Ryu came in and they had like Ken stage A
And then they threw in
the
everybody
alternate
else's
versions of the
Bs,
songs.
yeah.
No, these are
All
different
separate
songs.
from all different kinds
And
of
so-
Neo Geo
I mean,
games.
you can't blame Terry for that, guys.
No, I don't I'm not,
No, I blame Nintendo for not having more Final Fantasy music!
I don't know who to blame. And honestly, I don't like throwing out blame. All I'm saying is this is a great opportunity. And Final Fantasy Remake is coming out in March. This is a great opportunity to bring in Final Fantasy stuff.
You want fan base to start getting ralphed up for this then?
The thing about the fan base getting riled up is I don't think they want necessarily Sephiroth, but they would really appreciate to get more music.
And
We're
stages.
fine with Cloud.
Cloud with a
We're
blaster.
really fine. And you know what? Even if they don't put Sephiroth in the game, bring in whatever guest character you want, but be like, oh, we're entering March. And since it's March, we're bringing something special for you in Smash. Fwing! We're bringing Final Fantasy music. And I'll just... You know what? Heck, they can bring Sephiroth in as a
That one.
costume.
That one meme, Fry. Shut up and take my money.
Yeah, shut up. Yeah, exactly. Shut up and take my... Yeah, if I have to pay to get a Sephiroth costume for my me, I'll pay for all 4 of us. I'll get all
One wing.
4 of us that One Wing Angel costume
And he'll
for
pay
Smash.
for all the music too. He did it for Dragon Ball.
Yeah,
He'll
I
do
did it.
for
Yeah.
Smash.
If I can pay for... That's the thing. If you've got good music in your fighting game, and that music cost me $15 to get it, I will pay for that music. Because as I talked about in the nostalgia topic, video games with great music make for a great experience for me. And speaking of great music and great experience, video games,
A disappointment.
we're gonna talk about a disappointing aspect because we're gonna transition over to our first main topic. And John, I understand that you may have to leave us in a second, but I specifically wanted to get your opinion with this piece because N7 Day came and passed,
Oh shit.
and
Dun dun dun.
nothing. The closest thing we got to anything from BioWare was an interview with Ars Technica with Mac Walters, who's the BioWare creative director, who basically just answered some Twitter. No, it wasn't Twitter. It was Reddit. He was answering some Reddit questions
Awful.
about Mass Effect.
Not even from the right source.
And well, my thing about it is like it's N7 Day, and you look on social media, and normally you would see fans exploding with content about Mass Effect. And I just went to Instagram, for instance, not even on Twitter, because Twitter I'm sure has a lot of stuff. But I went to Instagram and I typed in hashtag N7 Day 2019. Barely anything.
I
could get to the end of the search. That's how bad that was.
They should have announced a remaster or just a port the trilogy to PS4 and Xbox One as an apology for the absolute travesty that was Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yeah, I agree.
Man.
And here's the thing. It's a shame to me that the only way that I can play Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 on a modern console is through Xbox
Backwards
compatibility.
They had the first one on the Games Pass because the first one was published by Microsoft when it came out.
Yeah.
But then EA took over.
And yeah.
I got a question.
What's up?
So BioWare made Dragon Age, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did they at least say anything about Dragon Age 4?
Dude, N7 Day was quiet.
That's it?
Just
No.
the
Not
interview
even
was
Dragon Age
it.
I don't know if they recognize the day as much as fans do.
No, they do. Because they did something last year. They did an entire video last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did an entire video talking about what they loved about
They used to go as ham as Bungie does for Bungie Day.
Yeah.
Which is really my birthday, so that's more important.
Oh,
Wait, your birthday or Bungie Day?
My birthday, obviously.
Oh, okay. Oh, see, I was thinking the other one.
4K no listos.
There you go.
But yeah.
Because every other like Happy Bungie Day, I'm like, no, Bungie, it's my birthday.
Just give you a Master Chief.
But yeah, N7 Day, and I mean, so the way that me and Santi became the best friends that we are today, and even a little bit with John too, was discussions around Mass Effect.
It was funny because I showed him a song for the first time, a dubstep song. He was like, "This sounds like Mass Effect music," and I was like, "You play Mass Effect?"
I still remember that reaction to this day because at the same time, I felt the same way. Like I felt like no one played Mass Effect. Because when I was younger, and this was when I was in high school. This was our freshman year of high school.
This was our freshman
And
year.
I'm not going to say what year it is because I don't want people hunting down and finding out how old we are. But
I know how old you are.
this was our... Shut up, John.
I know where you live.
I know.
But yeah,
in the studio apartment.
but yeah, no, like from like just that recognition of the name Mass Effect brought us that much closer as friends. And it's like Mass Effect means so much to because the thing is like Assassin's Creed, yeah, people like Assassin's Creed, and there was a time where I said it was my favorite like game franchise, and then or not game franchise but game series
And then Mass
franchise.
Effect 2 happened.
Yeah, and then I was introduced to Mass Effect.
Oh, Mass Effect 2.
Yeah, Here's the thing.
That's where I came in the friendship.
Yeah,
So
Mass
good.
Effect 2.
and it's like that's when I found out what a fan base was, and B, that's what I found out what Drake's story felt like.
Oh, yeah, it was so good.
Was Mass Effect 2 and even Mass Effect 3. I don't know everyone's divisive about the ending, and you know what? I don't want to get into a discussion
In
about
3?
the ending. Yeah, the ending of 3. I don't want to talk about the ending of 3,
It's
but I want to talk about everything that led up to stopping right before the ending of 3.
Yeah.
Everything prior to that
Was
felt
amazing.
emotional.
Yeah, I was crying. I've
It
never
was
cried in a game.
emotional.
And then I
And
played
then-
3.
Yeah, and then Andromeda comes. I mean, and here's the thing. Francis, have you ever played Mass Effect before?
I played a demo.
You played a demo of which one?
2.
Of 2?
That was the best one.
You gotta play more than that. Like,
You wanna
like
borrow it?
we,
You wanna borrow it?
we probably need to do like
Well,
like nights, like repetitive nights where we just sit down with Francis, even if you're just watching. Like you have to experience Mass Effect.
Mass Effect 2 was the first game on my 360 that I actively went and got all the achievements for it.
Yeah.
And I cannot tell you how frustrating but fun it was to beat Mass Effect 2 on the hardest difficulty, including all the DLC.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the Shadowbroker DLC was already difficult enough on normal.
Yeah.
on normal. I beat it on insanity.
Yeah,
Dude.
that's skill.
That's, that's still my proudest accomplishment.
And
I think that's
mean,
dedication. I
wait,
feel like
yeah.
You want to talk about dedication and you want to talk about achievement? To this day, I think out of all three of us who played Mass Effect, I'm the only one who managed to get the Geth and the Quarian to unite.
Yeah.
At the end of 3.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
That is impossible
I think
to
I'm
me.
the
I
only
could
one.
never.
So
Yeah.
hard.
I think I pray.
Tally, no!
Tally, no.
Man,
You
yo,
should, like,
and here's the thing,
16.
you're right, because that happened during my second playthrough. Because my first, oh man, Mass Effect 3 broke me.
Yeah.
Like, you talk about a game.
There are a bunch of spoilers, by the way.
Yeah,
We are talking spoilers.
Mass Effect 3's been
old
out for
enough.
long enough.
I know. But
Yeah.
still.
Uh,
If you haven't played the game, we're gonna give away a
But-
lot, like
but-
someone's death.
well, here's the thing.
Well, two had Thane. Thane, I cried.
Death that could have been prevented, though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You can
Most-
prevent all the deaths in Mass Effect 2. You can't in 3.
No.
You
You can prevent.
You can prevent one, but you lose another life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like an exchange where it's like
just like in the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And that one
no
wasn't
matter what,
significant.
Thane,
That one wasn't that
Thane will
emotional.
always die.
But no, for me, Morden
Morden.
always has to die.
No. Thane in 2 dies.
He doesn't die.
He doesn't die in 2.
Thane?
No,
No,
he's
he
still in
lives.
3. He's
He's
not a
sick, though.
companion.
He's sick, but he didn't die. He dies. He dies.
You can go talk to him in the
eventually.
hospital.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Man,
I
yeah.
have to play this game again.
See, you know why? You know why
It's
he
pretty
probably died?
emotional too.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't want to cry again.
Because I didn't realize that with 3, so 3 carries over your save data from 2, and if you kept everyone alive in 2,
I played a PC,
they're
this
alive
was
in
the problem.
3, and you get to see cameos of them.
Yeah.
They don't really get to be on your squad, but sometimes they'll join you and they'll do a little tidbit.
Miranda showing up.
Yeah, well, I
But
don't,
she
I don't
doesn't join the squad.
I don't think she shows up.
She doesn't join.
But
she
Jack,
replaced-
seeing Jack in 3 though, I was
Yeah,
like,
that
you're
was
a completely different
tight.
person. And and
Jack
Francis,
was
I know
awesome.
you're not understanding all
Yeah,
this yet
you're-
because you haven't played it, but
My
No,
mind's
Miranda's
in
in the 3. She
rage.
gives you a lead for like a certain quest
that's right.
because you meet her in like a room, in like an hotel room in the Citadel.
Yeah.
Oh, just like when you meet her underneath in 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the
But
worst.
and that's the thing. So we're talking about how we felt and how it made us feel
That's what games
and how
do.
impactful it was as a game. And Andromeda unfortunately fell very short with that.
It felt very empty.
It didn't carry what made it feel like Mass Effect. And the thing with that is we're talking about, Mass Effect and how it failed when it came to Andromeda. But the question isn't looking back at Andromeda and what we didn't like. It's
what we
taking
loved
what
about
we
the
loved.
series.
What would be your dream Mass Effect? And I don't want to go into too much detail because we may have to just take an entirely different podcast to just dive into that.
Mass Effect podcast.
But just quick shoot, we've played. And Francis, you can even talk about what you love about gaming that you would love to see if a good Mass Effect game came out. But I want to start with John actually.
Uh-oh.
John,
Hmm.
your dream Mass Effect. What does it look like?
Good multiplayer. Because Mass Effect 3 had squad multiplayer, and it didn't feel as personal as I wanted it to.
It was also kind of janky.
It was still kind of janky, but I enjoyed fighting wave after wave of things. And not just things that was shooting back at me, but things that were chasing me.
Mm-hmm.
What was the race? Or the Banshees?
The Banshees were the
Yeah.
worst. I just loved smashing heads in that game, too. It was great.
Mm-hmm.
But I want a customizable character that follows from the campaign to online.
Thank you.
I want to be
Yes.
able to play as Shepard and then go in multiplayer and play as Shepard.
Yeah.
Like
Or-
the Shepard I created.
Yeah. Or
And a Turian Shepherd would
or
be
even a
great.
character who's not the big lead
Yeah,
in the main story,
yeah,
but is a cog.
Or even being able to customize your own character for multiplayer like you get to do with Shepard.
Exactly, and that's what I wanted in Dragon Age as well. And I
Mhm.
think BioWare messed up with Inquisition on multiplayer that way
Yeah.
because you did such a good job with the campaign customization,
Mhm.
but you didn't follow through with the multiplayer, and that
Yeah.
kind of just made me, as a player of video games of BioWare, it made me kind of sad. So
Mhm.
my dream would be a continuation of customization through multiplayer and campaign.
Gotcha. Santi?
Mass Effect 3 without the Force multiplayer and without the nonsense ending.
Oh,
Yeah.
the Force multiplayer, or you get the nice ending, yeah.
I
Mhm.
hated the Force multiplayer so
Yeah.
much. I hate that EA did that.
Is
Yeah,
that...
that was 3.
No, I'm thinking... Is it Diablo 4 that's just got announced, and they were talking about how it would be like forced online.
Yeah,
Possibly.
we were gonna discuss that later.
Yeah,
but,
so and we'll talk about that. But that's any
but that's
game.
Call of Duty right now. Is they're forcing
That's a
multiplayer.
lot of games.
They're forcing you to
Warfare,
be connected
yeah.
to the internet.
But I'm not even talking about
Exactly. Yeah, I'm not talking
talking
about.
No.
being forced to play a janky
yeah.
multiplayer mode
So you could get a good ending.
But
to
I think,
get the best possible ending.
but I think going off of that point, it's like you shouldn't be forced to do anything online to affect your offline experience.
Exactly.
It should add on to the experience.
Yeah.
I should not be punished. Like, if you're a kid playing Mass Effect 2, I mean, if you're a kid playing Mass Effect 2, there's some problem. But if you're a young adult playing Mass Effect 2,
I played the first Mass Effect as a kid.
or you're playing Mass Effect 3, and, you know, you're told, like, hey, you need to play multiplayer, you need to do this in order to get the best ending, and you're a kid who does not have the ability to do such a thing, that sucks. Like, that's terrible. That's downright dirty. Don't do that.
Give me the indoctrination theory. Make that a real thing, please.
Yeah.
BioWare, please. It was so good, and then you
Let's walk away from indoctrination. Honestly, and that's what my dream. That's what my
so
dream.
much
Mass Effect
evidence
is.
for it.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't want to linger on the Shepard aspect
I do.
of Mass Effect. I want to leave it. I want to stay in Andromeda. Actually, I think Andromeda was a great concept that was given to
That
us,
was a very good idea.
and it was handled poorly. And you know, we're talking about games that make us feel a certain way. And right now, I'm playing Outer Worlds for the second time. And Outer Worlds, man, is a game that makes me feel a certain way. And it makes me feel joy for a genre of gaming that I never really had a lot of joy for.
It makes me care about
And
the
that's
companions.
first-person games. I don't really like playing games in first person. But the thing about how you can kill anybody, there's consequences for killing the smallest of people. You know, there's a consequence that comes from doing stuff like that. You're in an unknown foreign territory that you don't know anybody. Like, that's what Andromeda should have felt like. You got plopped into a land, there are random creatures, and there are random things. Anything could kill you, and you can kill anything. But, at the same time, how you act changes how the world grows or falls. And that's, for me, what Mass Effect should be about, especially with Andromeda. Because the thing is, Mass Effect is kind of this combination of Star Wars and Star Trek for me, where Star Trek is exploration, and Star Wars is more of the politics and the action that comes with the politics. It brings those together to create a great narrative. Or at least I would hope it would do something like that.
The best space opera.
Yeah. Like, you talk about what's your favorite game in space. If you're a really big PC gamer, I'm sure it's something like EVE, where there's like massive
EVE
wars.
Online?
Yeah,
Oh,
EVE Online.
EVE Online
where
is
massive wars
great.
can happen. There's a whole like political aspect to things that are created by the people. And it's just like, I don't want EVE Online to be the best space game. I want Mass Effect to be the best space game. And for me, I think it just comes down to make it feel like we're in an unknown territory. Space shouldn't feel like something I'm comfortable with. I should be able to replay whatever new Mass Effect game comes out more than once, and it should be a different experience each time. I understand it's supposed to be a narrative, and they want it to go down a singular line and end at a point.
I want linear paths.
Yeah, but don't do that.
But the whole point of the original Mass Effect trilogy is that your choices mattered.
Yeah.
And that your choices created branching paths.
Yeah.
It may have been one linear narrative, but it changed how that narrative played out.
Yeah, but the problem is sequels. Because you go through the Mass Effects and you're like, oh, well, obviously we're going to have to wait for a Mass Effect 2 because we need to figure out these answers. And obviously we need to make for Mass Effect 3 because, well, the Reapers are coming. But with Mass Effect Andromeda, it shouldn't have been one of those, well, we have to wait for Mass Effect Andromeda 2. It should have been, it's Mass Effect Andromeda. We just went through this game.
Let us play as the other races already.
Right now. That too, yeah. Yeah, let us play as other races. Like, I shouldn't be stuck as a human being for
The
the rest of my
Turian
life.
daddy.
Yeah. But Francis, what about you? You know, if you were to play a Mass Effect game and it was supposed to entice you, what would you want in that Mass Effect game?
Well, first I have to ask, how does it play?
Hmm.
Play
Third person,
style?
over the shoulder kind of shooter with
Like Dead
some
Space
melee.
style?
Kind of.
Kind of?
I'd say kind of like Dead Space.
Oh, that's what
Minus the slow walking and stuff like that.
Like, you can be fast.
You can be
Yeah.
fast. You have superpowers.
You can take it slow if you want to.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It depends on what class you choose. Like if you pick like the Vanguard,
Which
you can-
I loved.
First I was like, I'm gonna be a soldier, I'm gonna be a biotic, but then I found out the Vanguard, I can have the best of both worlds. Like there's this thing as a Vanguard called the biotic charge, where you literally rush in, and just plow into somebody, and you can shotgun them in the face,
Oh,
and it's so much fun.
that sounds pretty fun.
I love them. Yeah, but if you were to have
a unique playstyle or genre in the Mass Effect world, what would you choose? Because I know you're a big Dragon Age fan.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not like that style of.
No, you can't like
Players,
pause
yeah.
combat to do stuff. You can't do that, unfortunately.
In Mass Effect.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
can't.
Not yet, at least.
Oh, see.
Allow the pausing though.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that would.
I mean, you could like slow it down when you opened up your ability wheel.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of like
Yeah.
outer. Well, I mean, I would like to see. Yeah, I think having like a slowdown just to breathe for a second in combat. So kind of like
Read
Outer
the
Worlds has the
situation.
TTD, which is the time. I'm not even gonna try to break that down. It's something
Is it
time
VATS?
violation. It's better than VATS.
Oh.
Yeah, it's better than VATS.
It's more like bullet time.
Yeah. It's
Well,
bullet
from
time
bullets
that you can
from-
modify. And hearing you say like something to slow down, I think that would actually be a good addition because, yeah, with the weapons wheel you can slow things. I think you actually pull it to a crawl. Like I think when you pull out the weapons wheel, it's like stops everything.
It nearly stops everything.
Yeah.
It's
Like
hitting the pause
It
button.
might
Yeah.
as well stop everything.
But I think it should
But you have to hold
Oh,
it down.
in 3?
In all of them. I think.
in all of them.
I
Yeah.
think 3 was just like the.
Yeah, I'm not. It's been a minute since I played Mass Effect, but yeah, no, I think a little something that lets the player breathe too, so that way you're not, because especially like as a newcomer to the series, you don't want to be overwhelmed and be like, okay, I hit the pause button. All right, but the thing is, when you hit the pause button, you can't see anything, so now you don't know how to plan.
Especially if you just drop them into the beginning of 3.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That was
yeah.
like when I first I was like, oh no, it's finally happening.
and you
It's
know what?
here.
And that's exactly what I did when I first got dropped into 3. I paused. I was like,
I need to breathe.
please.
Oh, from that first intro?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
I was like, I need
No,
to
no,
breathe.
no.
Speaking of breathe, I know that we got to give one of us some air. So John unfortunately has to leave early, which sucks because we're about to go into BlizzCon.
I
stuff
know.
Too, and
I'm gonna miss
know
out.
You want to talk about
But
Diablo 4.
I do. I always do. But,
But
another
that's all right.
time.
Yeah, we'll
Another time.
always have another time. We can even have a separate segment where
Yeah.
it's just Malik and John.
The
Diablo
complete
4.
beard does have to leave, though. I apologize.
It better not.
No, I'm not shaving it, guys.
You're not
I just
allowed
gotta
to.
go.
You're not allowed to shave.
Okay, I was about to say. I was like, you better not be going to a shaving appointment.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
All right, so we wish you the best of luck with what
Yeah.
you're doing,
Yeah.
and yeah,
I'll listen to the rest.
we'll
I'll do my homework. You guys have fun.
Yes, and then we will see you next time when we get together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, and even though he can't hear you, everyone who's listening, please say goodbye for John. Bye.
Bye, John.
Bye.
As he awkwardly makes his exit.